be looking at the grade 4 UNISA Theory of Music melody writing section. So I have previously made a full video with a student, a very nice interactive video on melody writing regarding grade 3 Theory of Music. So please be sure to check that one out as a nice foundational preparation for the grade 4 melody writing. So the main difference between grade 3 melody writing and grade 4 melody writing is of course just the length of the melody. So in grade 3 we were given a 2-bar melody and we had to add 2 bars. So basically the whole idea was completing a 4-bar melody of which we get a 2-bar question and then we have to answer in 2 bars. Now with grade 4 we have an 8-bar melody where we are given 4 bars, so double what we were given before, and then we are asked to answer in 4 bars, so double what we were asked to answer before. However, let me just say, if you've done very well and you know how to answer and complete a 4-bar melody, the 8-bar melody is actually easier because technically you're going to have the same job to do. Your melody is just going to sound super cooler and everything is just going to be a little bit more heightened, but your melody is definitely going to be prettier and you don't have to do too much extra. So let's go ahead and look at an example and then we'll try some in different key signatures, time signatures, as well as with upbeats. So I'm looking at one over here. We have something with 2 flats. So of course, right at the beginning, when it comes to melody writing, when it comes to anything in music, we definitely have to go ahead and identify our key, because without knowing what our key is, we can't do anything. So we're definitely either in B flat major or G minor. But I mean, first bar starts at B flat. If I'm looking what they give me at the end of their question, they land us on an F, which is the dominant of B flat. There are no weird F sharps in between, which I would expect in G minor. So this is definitely B flat major. Yay. So once we know that, we can already go ahead and fill in our last bar, because we definitely need to end on the tonic, because why not? We are in a very short space of musical time here. 8 bars might feel like, oh wow, it's overwhelming for me to complete, but it's actually a very short and sweet thing, and we don't want to change key, we don't want to do something weird and fancy, we want to keep something concise. Okay, because you should be able to sing this melody back to yourself. It should be something singable. Okay, so we're in B flat major, which means we're going to end on a long B flat, our long tonic right at the end. And of course, we know what our longest note value will be according to the time signature. Our longest note value will be a semi-breve. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a B flat semi-breve right at the end. Yay! I can use this B flat, I can use the higher B flat or the lower one, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this middle one. And when it came to grade 3 melody writing, we were almost kind of halfway done by just putting a single note there at the end. We just then had to compose the second to last bar and phrase. But now, of course, we have a few other bars open. So if I go ahead and just number my bars, I can see that bars 5, 6, and 7 lead something. Now what we're going to do, easy copy paste style, we're going to copy bar 1 into bar 5 exactly the way it is. So I have a dotted crotchet B flat, I have a quaver C, I have a crotchet B flat and a crotchet F. Didn't take much thinking from me, I just copy pasted. Now what's beautiful is that a compositional technique called a sequence exists and we can definitely use it here. I'm going to just write everything a note up. So if I was on a B flat here, I'm going to be on a C here, and I'm just going to copy paste this bar a note up. If I was on a line note, so to speak, I'm going to a space note. If I'm on a space note, I'm going to a line note. So I'm now going dotted crotchet C, quaver D, 1 up from C, 1 up from B flat is a C, and then 1 up from F is a G, and those are crotchet because I'm copy pasting the direct rhythm. And look there, I didn't even have to think. It's just a copy paste of bar 1 into bar 5. Then bar 6 is a sequence of bar 5. And looky here, we only have bar 7 to compose. And yet again, it is the second last bar. And what do we know from grade 3 melody writing? The second last bar needs the dominant chord. Now, of course, it's the dominant of our key. Our key is B flat major. What is our dominant? This should be just rolling from within us. It is F. So our chord that we need to line out for us here is F, A, C. Okay, great. So I can technically start on any one of those chord notes, but I do like to go ahead and start on one of those that are closest to the last note in the previous bar. So the last note in the previous bar is a G, so I can definitely go ahead and start on an F or an A. So what shall I do? I have options. There are many things that I can do. So there are many right ways to do this, also many wrong ways. So let's see, how can I do this in one of the right ways? So I would actually like to end my bar going from C to B flat. That's just something I would like to do here. I don't have to. And then I'm going to go up from here in a scale-like way. Now I just have to figure out my note values, and I'm going to do that. So I do have my chord notes, I am outlining them. I have an F, I do have an A, I do have a C, and I do actually have two passing notes there. The final thing then that I have to do is go ahead and phrase, and they will actually ask me in the exam, remember your phrasing, and they will also say you may add appropriate dynamic indications. So for instance, if they do go ahead and give you a mezzo piano over here, because they will start you off with a dynamic indication, you don't have to go ahead and do fortissimo or sforzato or something anywhere. Don't be crazy, because it's just 8 bars. Like we said, it's a short and sweet thing, no matter how overwhelming it may feel. Perhaps then in the second line, you sort of do the opposite of that. So if we were on mezzo piano, you can maybe say mezzo forte now, and leave out weird crescendos and decrescendos and stuff now. Don't also put in different types of tempo indications, like a retardando or something. I used to do crazy stuff like that for no reason, just because I thought, okay, it'll maybe get me extra marks, but it doesn't work that way. We want it to be short and sweet and simple. Can you follow the instructions of the melody writing exercise? So we don't have any dynamic indications that are given to us here, so we don't have to add anything, but we definitely do have to phrase, and I need to phrase from note head to note head, and then we're going to phrase our answer note head to note head. And we won't have access to an instrument in the exam, of course, but as you are doing these exercises, as you are learning throughout your grade 4 syllabus, you definitely have access to your instrument and your voice at home or in your class, wherever it is. So please do test it out, see that what we're doing theoretically on paper actually makes practical sense in real life. So you're not thumb sucking a melody, you're following a pattern, long tonic at the end, copy paste bar 1 into bar 5, quick sequence of bar 5 and bar 6, and then bar 7 you're going to do your dominant chord. And like I said, quite easy, because this is going to sound very cool. We're going to hear it now. So you basically have the same job as you did with grade 3 melody writing. You're only going to think definitely and compose when it comes to the second to last bar, which is based on your dominant chord. So in grade 3, it would have been lovely for you to have added those passing notes or anything like that. It definitely would have gotten you full marks. But here, it is necessary. You need to add your passing notes. And remember, no jumps between passing notes or non-chord notes. You may jump between chord notes, but not between non-chord notes. And this is why it's very safe to have a scale-like passage going up, because you will never go wrong and there are no jumps. But okay, let's listen to this. And though the formula is easy, it does take a while in practice just to get it right, understand it. So do go ahead and try out these exercises, try out your melody writing exercises, take it to your teacher, do it with a friend, then take it to your teacher, but just be sure that somebody is checking your work and somebody that has the knowledge to be able to guide you through this. Now, of course, this is one way to complete the melody, a nice simplified version, especially because you're going into the exam without an instrument. But there are other right ways of doing melody writing, so don't think that because someone else does it a bit differently that that's not the right way. There are many right ways, like I have said before, but there are also many wrong ways. So whatever method you are using, just make sure that it is reputable and that you can verify it with your music teacher. So let's go ahead and listen to this example of our melody writing exercise in B flat major. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So let's try out another exercise. Okay, so here we have an example in G major in 3/4 time. Now, just for interest's sake, when we go over 2 lines of music, in the second line or however many lines we have afterwards, the key signature will always be repeated. Luckily they do give us the key signature, so we didn't have to repeat it, but just for interest's sake, the key signature is always repeated in every line. The time signature, no. So don't be writing 3, 4 or whatever time signature in the subsequent lines, okay? I know some people, they take systematic to a different level. They want to copy paste everything into the other lines, but it is not a musical thing. Definitely go ahead and check out your practical instrument sheet music. It is not a thing to copy paste the time signature into every single line of music that follows. Key signature yes, time signature no. Just a little side note. So we're in G major here. Our last note needs to be a long G, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think I want to escalate to the top G, and we're in 3/4 time, so it needs to be a dotted minim. That's great. Then copy paste bar 1 into bar 5. Nice and easy. Copy paste a sequence of bar 5 into bar 6. So we were on G, now we're on a minim A, and this is a crotchet A, so we're on a crotchet B. Nice and easy. We didn't even have to think much doing that. Now we just have to compose our 7th bar or our second to last bar. It is based on the dominant chord. What is the dominant of G? It is D, so our chord is going to be based on D, F sharp, A. So where shall I start? I like to start, as I said, on the note that is closest to this note on the previous bar. So I'm definitely going to start on the A. Okay. When in 3/4 time, I can basically just outline my crotchet beats. I also see this rhythmic principle of outlining crotchet beats in what they've given us. So to be concise, I'm just going to go ahead and use crotchets. And I think what will be nice to go ahead and do is to jump an octave, go to the F sharp, leading note, and I'm going to leave out the D. I can actually leave out one of those. The one that I can't leave out is this middle one, because, you know, that's our leading note. We need that. But I can leave out the root of the chord if I so want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Then I'm going to phrase. That's our final step. And then, as you can see, it doesn't take us forever and a day to do a melody writing exercise. Let me phrase nicely here. Phrase is not looking so good. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. And you can also fix any of these stuff with your pencil, if it so happens to you. Okay, so we're going to listen to this, and then we'll see maybe if we can come up with something else in the second to last bar, because there are other options. So this exercise will go 1, 2, 3. Very cute. Let's see if we can change that up a little bit. So that is definitely right. But for instance, if I wanted to end on the lower G, I could do that as well. I can end over here, and then for instance, I can go like that. I can use all of my chord notes, D, F sharp, and A, phrase nicely to the stem, and this is how it would sound. 1, 2, 3. Very sweet. Now, of course, we said we do need to add in some non-chord notes, and it can just be one. It doesn't have to be many. But for instance, if I would like to, I can go ahead and put in a B there. I can put in a C there to sort of make them quavers, crotchet. There we go. There are other ways to do it, definitely, but I'm just thinking, okay, quick scale-like thing. We can definitely jump between chord notes, that's fine, but we cannot jump between non-chord notes. So for instance, if I just did A, B, going to D, that would be wrong, because B and D, they're not related in this case. There is no B in our chord, so I need to actually have 2 passing notes there. There we go, to make it a scale-like pattern. So, with my heightened example here, because we have some passing notes, this is what 100% melody would sound like. So there we go. Let's look at another example. So here we have an example in 6/8. We are in F major, so of course our final note needs to be a tonic F. So in 6/8, what is our longest note value? Of course, we can tie two dotted crotchet beats together. I'm just using a random line here, or we can use a dotted minim. Either one will do. I'm going to go ahead and use the dotted minim. Same thing. I am going to go ahead and put my dotted minim F over there. Now we copy paste bar 1 into bar 5. So we have A, we have F, F, E, F. How nice. Then we have a sequence of bar 5 and bar 6. So we're going to a B flat over here, a G, we're going to G, F, G. And then the only thing we need to compose is bar 7. We base it on our dominant chord. Our dominant in F is of course C. So C, E, G, that is what we need to use. Now of course I can see there are some interesting rhythmic principles going on here. We do have crotchets, we have quavers, we have flowing quavers within a single beat. We even have this principle of having a rest in the other bars. But I don't think I want to use something like this in the second to last bar. So I can either go ahead and outline my two dotted crotchet beats, but I don't think I just want two notes in this bar. I can go ahead and use this type of rhythmic principle, or I can swap it around. I can go quavers first and then this. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the opposite of this, I could have a bar full of quavers. So quavers on my first beat, quavers on my second beat. I could go ta, 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 ta. So I can have this rhythmic principle twice. Interesting, I can have lots of options, but what I am going to go for is I'm going to stick with my G. I definitely do want to end on a E over there, so I'm going to go like this. Okay, so I've jumped between a chord note here. I've come down stepwise to have two passing notes, going to another chord note, to a chord note, and ending. So there are other ways to do it, but that's what I'm going to choose. I'm going to phrase, and I'm going to phrase. And there we have it. So let's hear how this one sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now I think what's good to do next is to do an example in simple time with an upbeat and an example in compound time with an upbeat. So let's hop to it. So here we have an upbeat example in F major. We are in 2/4. Okay. So with an upbeat, remember this is not your bar 1, it's an upbeat bar. Your first bar, your bar 1, is the bar with the full value of the time signature. So where's our bar with the first value of 2 crochet beats in a bar? It's over here, bar 1. So this will be our bar 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4, then this will be 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now first things first, we know that we have to have a long tonic in our final bar. However, the way upbeats work is that mathematically we minus the upbeat from the final note value at the end. So we're expecting in 2/4 to have a minimum value at the end, but now we have to minus that quaver, so we're just going to have a dotted crotchet. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our dotted crotchet F, so that helps me out. So that's very important when it comes to upbeats. Don't go and put a full minimum value there because it's not going to land up balanced and mathematically correct. Okay, so then once we've overcome this quick hurdle, it's not really a hurdle, you just have to be systematic about it and very logical. After that, we again just copy paste bar 1 into bar 5. So here we have it, nice and easy. Then we have a sequence of bar 5 in bar 6. So now we're going to start on that G, going up to a C. And then the only bar we have to compose is this one, second to last bar, and of course the dominant in F major is C. So our chord is based on the C chord, C, E, G. Okay, so let's see what we can do. For once, I'm not going to go to the closest note to that note, which is actually the same note, C. I'm going to go on my G. So I will go like this. And as you'll see, I am omitting the G, but that's fine. I do have a passing note because F is not part of this chord. Simple enough. So the last thing that I would do is phrase, but you'll see bar 4 is a bit weird. They've given us a note head, but no note value. So remember how we copy pasted bar 1 to bar 5? Well, hello, we actually still need to copy paste our upbeat. So the upbeat is going to go over here, C, F. Great. But now we have this interesting note head, so what can we do? Options, we can have a nice dotted crotchet, obviously. So then we have our full 2 beats value in that bar. But we can also go ahead, if we would like to, and have that as a crotchet and have a rest. That's also quite good and well and fine. But I think I'm going to go ahead and have our dotted crotchet. And then it's cool because we have a dotted crotchet F there, and we actually end on a dotted crotchet F at the end. So when I phrase, I'm going to phrase from the upbeat to over here. And because obviously the whole thing about an upbeat exercise is that the upbeat continues throughout. So then I need to phrase the second part, our answer, from the new upbeat. So not from what I made a note value here, but from my upbeat. So upbeat to there, and then new upbeat. So this is actually going to go over the page. It's going to come over, and I'm going to go over there to my note. So phrasing a little bit different, but remember it's from upbeat to the end of your phrase, and then from your upbeat to the end of the exercise. So let's listen to how this exercise sounds. So this exercise in 2/4. And there you have it. Let's take a look at one last upbeat example. Let's do it in a compound time. So lastly, we have an upbeat example in 6/8. We're in G major. So of course, our last bar needs to have a G. We need to end on a G because it is our tonic, but we have an upbeat. So we need to think about this logically. So like I said before, if you're thinking in 6/8 just rhythmically, we have 2 dotted crotchet beats in a bar. If we were to have that as a long note together right at the end, we can tie those together, which would also give us a dotted minim. But of course now that's not possible because we're actually minus a quaver, so we're minus this little dot. So this is the note value that we have to add into the last bar. So a dotted crotchet tied to a crotchet. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my dotted crotchet G tied to a crotchet G. So that's just a long G grouped correctly. Then we're going to go ahead and copy paste bar 1 into bar 5. Simple stuff. Copy, copy, copy. Then we're going to go ahead and have a sequence of bar 5 and bar 6. So everything is like one note up. Also very easy. And then our second to last bar, that's the only thing we have to think about really and compose. So dominant of G major is of course D. So our chord is going to be based on the F sharp A, and I think I am going to start on a D. I can actually start on the F sharp as well, but I'm going to start on a D. Okay, and there is a little neighbor tone, or what we call an auxiliary note. So this is an upper auxiliary note. It's between 2 chord notes that are the same. So I have an A and in between I put something there. I can either go A, B, A or A, G, A. We'll see how either of it sounds. You can just decide which one you want to use. And this bar is the only bar that's not complete because as you can see, here is my first dotted crotchet beat. Great, but there's something missing here, and of course it's the upbeat. Yeah, they do give us a rest, but we need to add that D. So low D as an upbeat because of course the upbeat and bar 1 needs to be repeated. So upbeat is repeated, the full of bar 1 is repeated, then this bar, which is the copy of bar 1 in bar 5 gets the sequence, we compose a dominant there, we have long tonic over there. So last thing, we are going to phrase, and we are phrasing up to this note, not the rest, but the note. Then our new phrase begins at our upbeat. This is sort of going from here. So obviously this is not phrased from the note, but it's from the previous bar. However, it is on a previous line, so we're going to make like, okay, it comes from a previous line. The phrase is sort of up in the air, and we go to our final note. So let's take a listen to how this one sounds. We're in 6/8 here. And if I was to change this B into maybe a G instead, because I could do that, I could go lower auxiliary. Let's see how just the second phrase would start. We're going to start at the upbeat. We would hear this. Either works and either will get you 100% melody wise. So there we go. So to summarize with our melody writing, we know what we have to do. Please do go ahead, like I said, and watch the grade 3 melody writing video just to get a foundational grip on what we're doing here. But this is all there is to it for grade 4 melody writing. It is now not the end of the world. I know that people really don't like this question. They sort of think, oh, I need to thumb suck a melody here. No. So here it is. And I do wish I had a little bit of a guideline like this when I was writing grade 4. I remember I was grade 11, mid-year of my grade 11 year. So June 2013, I wrote the grade 4 UNISA Theory of Music paper. Now I kind of was going into this by myself and blindly, not really having someone to check my work. I really like to do extra after hours music things, and at the time I was taking 3 instruments and it was lovely. Music was my life, and I went into this exam full well knowing all my other things, really trying to study it academically, knowing what's up, trying to be extra fancy in the melody. It didn't get me anywhere. I got 99 out of 100 for that paper, and when I got that mark back, I was very sad, but I knew deep down in my heart this was the place where I lost my mark. I can definitely just tell you for sure, even though I've never seen that paper again. I would have lost that 1 mark at melody writing, probably from being too extra, probably from thumb sucking something. Now, of course, I was a music person and I was taking 3 instruments. Musically, I was practically involved in stuff. So whatever I did in the melodies were based on, musical experience, but it wasn't based on logic and structure and those types of stuff in music, which I think is very important. No one told me back then that. So I'm telling you this now. You can use any type of structure, just make sure you have a structure verified by your music teacher. And if you would like to use this one, you may go ahead and do so. So what we have is an identification of key. That's very important because then we will know how to use our long tonic, the longest note value that we can, considering whether or not we have an upbeat, and then that will be bar 8. Bar 5 will just be a copy paste of bar 1, then bar 6 will be a sequence of bar 5. The only bar we need to compose is bar 7, and that's going to be based on the dominant chord of your key. You're going to outline your chord notes, and you're going to have a passing note or an auxiliary note, something of a non-chord tone. And in the exam itself, they might ask you to add appropriate phrasing, which you definitely need to do either way. And then they will also say add appropriate dynamic indications. Just add 1. So whatever they give you, see if you can maybe do the opposite in the second line, but don't be adding a dynamic indication at every bar. Okay, so I hope that does help you with your preparation for melody writing for your grade 4 theory of music.